I am very excited to talk this month about credits and points programs. And when I'm talking about credits and points, I mean for product redemption or rewards programs. I don't necessarily mean incentives for reps or commissions in any way. So, just to level set up front, we're really talking about credits. These are going to be really great for bounce back, for loyalty programs, and really the sky's the limit. But we're gonna start out. There we go. The agenda for today, we're going to start out with just some basics about the credits area of the ByDesign platform. Going to talk about internal and external reporting, how to award credits, and then also how to redeem credits, because there are a lot of ways to do this. So I want to try to cover a wide range of what's possible. I'm not going to go really in depth with the training, but I am going to cover some of the how-to. As always, if you have specific questions and you want to start leveraging these programs in your business, reach out to our support team, reach out to myself. If you're still talking with Dan and John, reach out to them. They'll be happy to talk to you about how you can leverage credits in your business. But we're going to start out with the basics. So with the credit accounts system in the ByDesign platform, the key here is to know that you can have as many credit accounts set up as you want. In fact, we encourage using multiple accounts because each account can carry its own rules, its own currency, and those rules are going to be not just for how they're awarded, but also how they're redeemed. So you can see in the example here some of the options. These are all in US dollar, but you could certainly set up multiple ones using different currencies for different countries. But you can see, for example, the business credits are set up so that they are transferable, but the cash credits are not transferable. That's just one difference in those two credit accounts. And you're going to see that throughout the webinar today, all the different areas where you may want to configure things slightly different for the different types of credits that you're offering. And the beauty of the system is that it's all configurable. So you can set up as many of these as you want, try out different redemption rules, different awarding rules, and figure out really what works best for your business. So each of those credit accounts, I'm going to walk a little bit through some of the config options here. This is the most how-to I typically get, but I just want you to really understand what's possible and how robust this tool is. So whenever you're setting up these credit accounts, first of all, you can select the currency of that account. So obviously for you international clients, you're going to want to have different credit accounts for the different currencies that you use. Along with that, there are currency conversion rules that you can set up. So do you want to enable currency conversion if a shopping cart doesn't match the same currency as the credits? Do you want to allow that? Do you not want to allow that? So there's some different rules that you can play with there when it comes to currency. You can also manage the non-order redemption options. And by that, I mean, if a customer or a rep is not placing an order to redeem the points, what other options are there? How can they redeem these credits? Well, they can transfer them. They can withdraw them as cash if you allow it. Okay, so it's up to you to kind of make the rules, and we'll go into some more detail on what those means. But again, this is at the credit account level. So each credit account that you set up is going to carry its own set of rules. So if your business credits are transferable, you're going to check that box. If your product credits are not transferable, uncheck the box. It's really going to be at the account level that you're managing these different rules. And then, of course, you can decide which accounts you want to be expirable and which ones you want to not be expirable, should you want to do that. Some additional options, you can indicate a default credit account. That's going to be really important if you are leveraging some of the options and features that are available. So for example, if you're awarding credits based on inventory purchases, you can say, this is the credit account that I want as the default for that inventory purchase. Now, on the inventory level, you can manipulate that and say, for this inventory only, I want it to go into a different account. But having a default means that if you want it all to go into the same account, you don't have to configure that on every inventory that you set up. You can also use it for earnings from comp plan and redemption for auto ship. So these are all some of the default use cases that you can dictate. And then there's also this really cool program. I kid you not, I just found out about this week. And that's just because there are so many features in our system that even 5 years in, I'm still learning new stuff. So I just found out about this week. We have the option to transfer credits to cash. Essentially, what that means is if you want to, you certainly don't have to, you can turn this on. And when you do that, at the end of each bonus period, you can see here, you choose which bonus period that is. At the end of the bonus period, you can wipe out credit accounts and pay out the value of those credits as part of their commissions that they're earning. Completely optional. You can do it for some of your bonus periods or all of them. You can limit how much they can do, so you can cap it at a certain amount. You may not wish to do this at all, but it's just a really neat feature that, especially from a rep perspective, can really add value to any kind of points or credits program that you might be launching. So that's an option on the credit account. And then you also have the redemption rules. Do you want this to apply to product only? Do you want to allow credits to cover shipping or tax? All of these rules are very important to your margin calculations, and also the tax reporting that you're doing. So obviously, there's no one single right answer that's going to match everybody's business needs. So pay attention to this area when you're setting up these credits. Figure out what makes sense for each of your areas. This is going to be another area where the different credit accounts will come into play. So, your credit account for Canada might look very different than your credit account for the US in regards to these redemption limitations. You can also choose to include or exclude inventory. So that's going to be great because you may have a mixture of resellable products and business supplies. That's the most common use for excluding inventory. Maybe you don't want them to use their credits on business supplies. Or vice versa. If you're awarding business credits to your reps based on engagement and attendance at certain events, you can set up that business credit account so that those can only be redeemed for business supplies and not redeemed for actual resaleable product. So you can use both an include and an exclude or a combination of the two. But the key is that you can choose which products can be redeemed using these credits. You may also want to leverage this if you have a product with just a very small margin and you don't want to kind of double pay on the commissions and the credits. You may choose to exclude those small margin inventories from this. Seasonal items, promotional items, things that you've already reduced the price on significantly as like a last chance or a clearance. These are all great examples of when you might want to exclude anything from the redemption rules for your credits. You can also control the error messaging. So if you're going to limit how they can be redeemed, you're going to want to make sure you communicate to the rep or the customer why they're being limited. Things as simple as, this product is excluded from credit redemption, or you've reached a max of some kind. So your marketing team in particular and your field development team is going to really want to make sure they've got a good message in there. And then finally, volume reduction. Volume reduction is going to be important because this is how you're going to control the benefits to a rep when credits are redeemed. Do you want to award volume? Do you not? Do you want to award reduced volume? Only certain kinds of volumes. All of that is controllable with your credit accounts. Okay, so a lot of configuration options when it comes to the accounts. That's why we allow you to have so many, so that you can really hone in and make each account work for its intended use. There are some additional features. There is a concept of credit account collections. So each of these credit accounts that you're setting up, you can actually group them together into an account collection. That's going to essentially allow for second tier rules or second tier configurations. Most of you will never have to use the credit account collections, but for those of you who like really advanced and detailed rules on these types of programs, you'll definitely want to look into this kind of second tier option with the credit account collections. You can also determine whether you want to allow auto ships to be created with credits as the payment option or not. Obviously, there's pros and cons to that, but that's something you can control. And then finally, we have APIs for all of this. There's an API to create credits or award credits. There's APIs to redeem credits. There's APIs to just fetch credit availability. So for those of you who may be using an external cart, that doesn't mean you can't use our credits. It's just that you're going to use the APIs and do it more of an after the fact. So after an award's created, after an order's created, you can award the credits. And then when it comes time to redeem the credits, your third-party cart can call and fetch the amount of credits available and return that for the redemption within that third-party cart. Obviously, it's not going to work with all third parties, but that is something that you can explore leveraging our APIs. All right. I flew through the basics very quickly. Let me pause for just a moment and see if there are any questions. Okay, look like somebody's looking for rep incentives and commissions. We will be covering that on a future webinar, so we'll definitely be sure to hit that. Otherwise, I don't think there's any specific questions on the basics. So I will keep on rolling. All right. So now I'm going to dive into the reporting features of credits because, one of the keys to having a successful points or credits program is knowing at any given time who has credits that need to be redeemed. So you can do this within Freedom at the corporate level. You've got reports that show you in totality what's the total account balance of each individual, but also at a macro level. You can also drill into each individual customer or each individual rep and see details about their credit balance. Which types of credits do they carry? Which ones are, when were they created? Why were they created? Are they going to expire at any point? These are all things that you can view within the Freedom back office down to the individual rep or customer level. Now, when it comes to Revolution or the rep experience, you can see there's a formatted, mobile-friendly credits page. It's going to show me as a rep how many credits do I have available in all of my accounts. This is also where I'm going to have options to either redeem, transfer, or withdraw my credits. Okay, so lots of functionality that's available for the rep here. But what's important is that I always need to know where to find my credits, how many credits do I have, and what are the options that I have for redeeming them. And that's all available out of box in the Revolution rep back office. Now, because you can award credits to customers as well, there is an area in your cart where a customer can go in, view their account, and see how many credits they have available. They can also see where they came from and when they were awarded. Okay, so just like your reps, your customers need to know when they've got these credits available, when they're going to expire, where they came from, and how to redeem them. So that's all incorporated into the My Account section of the shopping cart. Okay, Bart, you're jumping ahead a little bit here. I actually have a section on Freedom Bank, so we're going to come into play here. All right, so we covered the basics, we covered reporting. Next, we're going to talk about how to award the credits or the points. And I'm using credits and points interchangeably just because you have the ability to call them whatever you want to call them. You can call them credits, you can call them points, you can call them bucks, you can call them spoons, whatever you want to call them, you can. But this section is going to be about how at the corporate level, or within your system, how are you awarding those credits to your reps and your customers? So the first and probably the most common way to award credits is through our promotions engine. So what I've done is I've pulled a screenshot here of the new promotion screen as well as the legacy promotion screen, because I know we have a lot of mixed usage. So for both of them, I'm going to be able to show you some highlights about promo actions to award credits. So with our promo engine, you've got conditions, which is what does the rep or customer have to do? They have to purchase a certain amount of items. They have to reach a certain threshold of retail sales. Maybe it's their second or third order within the month and you're rewarding consistency. Those are all the conditions. What I'm talking about here is the action. Once they've met that condition, what do you want the promotion to do? And the promo action that you're going to use here is award credits. Okay, so when you're setting up a promo action to award credits, you can do so by either awarding an amount or a percentage. Okay, so I can say, when somebody purchases a second time within the month, they're going to get a flat $10 credit. On their third, maybe they get a $15 credit. You could say, for all orders over $200, I want to give them 10% back in credit. So that's like a bounce back program where you want them to come back and redeem those credits. These are all different options, but the key here is to know that you can do an amount or a percentage. One thing I also want to clarify here is you can set up multiple promo actions that all point to the same credit account. So back in the beginning, when I talked about having 2 different credit accounts or 5 different credit accounts, like business credits or product credits, US versus Canada, you can have multiple promotions that deposit credits into the same account. So your US credit account may have 10 different promotions or 10 different ways that customers and reps can get credits added there. Whereas your business credits, maybe there's only one promotion that contributes to that. You can have multiple actions all going to the same credit account, essentially. You can choose expirations. So this is going to be on these particular actions themselves. The credits that are awarded from these actions can all have unique expiration dates. So for example, back to my earlier example, if you're awarding customers $10 in credits for their second order in a month, maybe you want those to expire within 30 days. Because the key is that you want them to log back in quickly and order again. Okay. Whereas a business credit where you're rewarding a rep for joining a training event, maybe you don't want those to ever expire, or maybe they expire at 90 days or 180 days. So the key is that you can have credits expiring at different lengths, all within the same credit account. Okay, the credit account does not dictate expiration date. The promo or the manual assignment, basically anywhere where you're actually creating the credits, that's where you're going to set that expiration date. You can also choose when to award them, and this is going to be very important. You can choose to award them when the qualifying order is posted, or you can choose to wait until the order is shipped. Okay, this can be very important if you have a high cancellation volume, or if you have a high rate of chargebacks, or those types of things. You may wish to wait and award them further in the fulfillment process rather than upon immediate submission of that order. So these are all options when you're setting up that promo action to award credits. The second way that you can award credits, Promo Engine was the first one. The second one is by something we call inventory attributes. What this basically means is I can award credits to you based on the specific items that you're purchasing. Great examples of this are enrollment kits. You can say, I want to give 100 credits to anybody who enrolls with the gold package versus 50 credits with silver and 0 credits with bronze. That way you're encouraging your new recruits to invest more upfront and buy the bigger sign-up kit. You can also reward your sponsor based on those enrollment kits. So as a sponsor, when a new recruit purchases gold, the sponsor is going to get 100 points versus if they're silver, they get 50. If it's bronze, it's 0. So both the recruit and the recruiter can receive credits based on the specific enrollment kit that they purchase. Not just limited to enrollment though. This can be on any SKU that you set up. It's on the actual inventory setup. So when you're going into the inventory, you're going to see here the little edit icon, and then you're going to come to a screen where you can specify whether credits should be awarded on purchase. A lot of really great examples outside of the enrollment that I just gave is brand new products that you want to generate a lot of excitement around or encourage customers to try for the first time. This credit option is a great way, get 50 credits back when you try our new blah, blah, blah. You can motivate your reps in the same way. Reps, you're going to earn additional credits for promoting this new product that we have. So those are just some examples of how I've seen them used. But the key here is that you control it at an inventory level. Every single SKU can award credits in some way, shape, or form. You can choose to never award credits with inventory, but just know that the option is there. So we've covered promotions and inventory. We know also there's going to be times when you at the corporate office just needs to manually assign credits. It may be that when you're kicking off your credits, you want to gift credits to your reps as part of the launch and to get them excited about it. You may want to give credits to customers during their birthday months. You may want to do a bulk upload. Anybody who attended your national conference in July is all going to get 100 credits to spend on business supplies. These are all possible because you can manually assign credits within the Freedom back office. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this. The first way is individually. So if you have a specific leader or a specific rep that you want to award credits to, you can do that from the rep account itself. However, there's also a bulk upload. Bulk upload is going to be like for the conference attendees. If you need to award credits by rank, if you're going to do a massive kickoff or a promotional event where all your reps get a certain amount of credits. These are all reasons the bulk upload is going to be handy, and versus the individual where you're really just assigning credits to each rep one at a time. Another way to award credits is going to be through something we call the Freedom Bank. And this one's for you, Bart, because I know that you're very interested here. Basically, you have the ability to configure a Freedom Bank. There is a small monthly hosting charge that goes into it, but essentially this allows you to, instead of paying your credit or instead of paying your commissions directly out via a payment integrator or via checks or direct deposit, you can choose to pay them out to a credit account known as the Freedom Bank. So if you were to do this, you could essentially say, we're going to pay out at the end of each period into the Freedom Bank first. Once it's in the Freedom Bank, reps can choose to request a withdrawal. I still want it by a check. I still want it in my direct deposit. Or they can use those credits for spend back. Maybe they need to purchase more wholesale items from you. Maybe they need to replenish their business supplies. And when they do that with the credits versus withdrawing the money and then repaying the money, now you've got credit card processing involved and there's percentages there, versus the Freedom Bank allows that spin back to happen within a closed environment. Okay, they can spin back with you before they've paid any of those small percentage fees for all of the withdrawal and payment processing. So that's some of the reasons why you might want to implement the Freedom Bank. Reps also have the ability to choose percentages. Like, I want half of my payout to go to the Freedom Bank, but I want the other half to be paid out via the regular payout processing. So these are all options. From a corporate perspective, you can manage your credits or the awarding of credits in a couple of ways. You can do it by bonus period. That's what you're seeing on the screen here. So that's going to basically be, for the March bonus period, I want to go ahead and process and pay out those commissions into the credit accounts for Freedom Bank. Another way you can do it, oops, sorry, I thought I had another screenshot there. Another way you can do it is via bulk upload. I didn't grab the screenshot, my apologies, but it's very similar to the bulk upload you saw on the prior screen. But just know that, again, you have the opportunity to link this to your commissions program, your bonus plan, so that this Freedom Bank or this credit account is kind of an intermediate step between you processing your commissions and actually paying it out to the reps. This is a step between that gives you the freedom and flexibility to allow them to use some of those credits in other ways, as opposed to just going directly to the payout. Once the credits are in the Freedom Bank, reps have the option of requesting a withdrawal. So here's some screenshots from the rep experience. So these are the reps out there in the field. You can see they can see right on their dashboard how many credits or what the balance is for their Freedom Bank. When they click on that, they're going to see more details. And then you can see here a couple of the screenshots for actually withdrawing or requesting a withdrawal from their Freedom Bank. It's important that they understand it's a withdrawal request, because you're going to actually approve and process all of those withdrawal requests in the Freedom back office. Okay, so we're giving the reps the power to be able to withdraw that money, but we also want to make sure that you have that oversight to know who's requesting credits, how often. You can put a limit on how much they can request at any given time. There's also some automated processes where you may say once a week on Fridays, I want to automatically process the withdrawals. Or you can choose to go in manually and process them as they come in. So a lot of different options there, but the key is you process your commissions, put it into the Freedom Bank. Reps can choose from there. Do they want to withdraw? Do they want to use those credits in other ways? And then everybody's happy. All right. Let's see. Bart, ideas about credits in the Freedom Bank. Oh, you're offering them for those who submit a video testimonial. That's a great idea. It doesn't just have to be for purchasing behavior. You can reward customers who follow your Facebook page. You can reward customers who give you a testimonial. Anything like that. Same thing on the rep side. It doesn't have to necessarily be income producing activities. You can reward points for joining training calls, reward points for hosting training calls. There's so many different things. Following your Facebook page, promoting and resharing some of your content to their own page. These are all ways that you can manually issue points to customers and to reps, even outside of orders and income producing activities. Everybody give your ideas to Bart. He's excited to hear from you on how you're using this and what your ideas are. So I covered how you award the credits. Now I'm going to cover how you can redeem those credits. Okay, so now your reps and your customers have their credits out there, and there's multiple ways that they can be redeemed. Oh, and I'm in the wrong chat. Okay, there we go. So the first and obvious one is in cart. So as customers are accumulating credits, or if reps are accumulating credits, the easiest place for them to redeem them is in the cart on a future order. You can see here that I've got a screenshot from the checkout page, and the checkout page literally offers credits as a payment option. So if I've got credits, it's going to ask me if I want to use them. If I don't have any credits, this entire area won't show. So it's smart enough to know if credits are available, and also if the credits are available to be used on this type of order. And that's when it's going to show it. So it takes all the guesswork out for the customer and the rep. If it's showing here, they can choose to apply it. If they have multiple accounts, so if I'm a rep and I'm checking out in the cart and I have both business credits and payment credits, both will be shown here in the cart available for checkout. So I can choose to use all my credits from all accounts, all my credits from one account, or partial credits from any of those accounts. So as a customer, this is a bad example because my order total is only $40 and I have 100 in credit. But let's say my total was 400. I could choose to use the full 100 I have available, or I could choose to only use 50 of that. I could choose to use none of that. It's up to me as the customer or the rep. When I'm redeeming them, I have that availability to kind of split my credits, if you will. Reminder, this is where those redemption rules that we talked about earlier are going to come into play. Can it be applied to shipping, to handling, on tax, the inventory exclusions? This is that moment where all of the redemption rules that you put into place are going to come into play. So that's just a reminder of what you're doing in the setup of the credit account is going to reflect here in the cart to the rep and to the customer. This is a really exciting and brand new strategy that I've seen from one of our clients. LeBri was nice enough to agree to let me use this in the webinar today. But they've actually gone so far as to set up a second cart that is specifically for reps to redeem their credits on non-product. So what does that mean? That means as their reps are accumulating these points, earning these credits for various activities, they can go to this cart, which is only accessible from a rep. And when they get there, they can only pay using their credits. So when they set up this second cart, they made sure it was configured as such that the reps could purchase there. And then they did not set up credit card or ACH or APMs or any of those other payment options. The only payment option is to use credits. So in short, what they've done is they've created a place where they can offer non-product options for a rep to come in and choose their own rewards. So they can choose to reward themselves with a coffee maker if that's what they want to do. This goes a really long way for reps, and it's a lower cost option than your traditional trip experience or rewarding with the usual business supplies or free product. It gives kind of a third rail or a third option to help motivate and reward your reps, especially the 80% that are what I would call non-leaders, that are casual reps, part-time reps. Those are the types of reps that are really going to gravitate toward this type of rewards program. So this is something I hasn't even launched yet. So thank you, Jeff, for letting us look at it even before it's live.
Of course.
I think it's going live on the 1st, right, of May.
Yep. 1st of May through July 31st.
Awesome. Oh, so you guys are doing it as a temporary thing to kind of feel it out and test it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Love that. Love that. So this is just one idea, and it's leveraging both our second cart configuration as well as the credit accounts to be able to make something like this possible. It's the first time I've seen it done. I can't say 100% that nobody else is doing it, but it's the first time I've seen it. Very exciting. So wanted to share that with everybody. And then, so we've covered how you redeem credits in the cart. We've covered, now we need to cover freedom. The reason that you can redeem credits in freedom is simply because customer service has to be able to support reps and customers, right? So if a customer's having trouble or if a rep's having trouble, your customer service team can come in and actually use credits to pay for an order through the Freedom back office interface. Now, to protect everybody, this is behind a user right. That means that only your employees that have access under the security permissions is going to be able to do this. So you may choose to only limit this to a very small group of people. You may open it up to the entire customer service team. That's up to you. But this is something that you will definitely want to be aware of, so that you don't run into any extra risk with redeeming credits on behalf of customers and reps. But obviously, we needed to make sure you had that option so that you could support your reps and your customers in the best possible way. So freedom, there is the ability there. Basically, at each order, which is that back screenshot that you see, when you click to make a payment, the modal that pops up has this system credit option. You can see you can choose which credit account you want to pull from, as well as the amount. So one of the cool features about our credit system, especially as it relates to the Freedom Bank in particular, is the ability to transfer credits. So if you choose, it's completely configurable by you in the Freedom back office, but if you choose to allow this, you can allow your reps to transfer their credits to other reps and or to customers. Okay, there's a lot of options here. Do you want them just to transfer to reps and not customers, just to customers, not reps? Even within the rep, do you want them to transfer to anybody or only within their downline? Only in their first level? These are all options that you have. But what's exciting is that leaders in particular can have the ability to use their own credits that they have earned as either motivation or recognition for their team, for their customers. Maybe as a leader, I'm going to award my top 3 downline reps each month. Top 3 in sales every month get 100 credits. Okay? I want to use my own credits and transfer them to those people. Okay, that's just one example. Your leaders can use them for that recognition. Your leaders, or all reps really, may want to use it as an incentive for new customers or for old customers to come back. One of my favorite tools that reps have are contact groups, and you can set up these contact groups to show them, here's all your customers who haven't purchased in the last 90 days. Maybe that's a group that I want to look at and give $20 in credits to each one of them to encourage them to come back and place that order. Okay, these are just hypotheticals, but great examples of what's possible when you're awarding credits to your reps and allowing them to transfer those credits within Revolution. So you can see here, there are some screenshots of the Revolution experience. So as a rep, here's where I'm going to come in and actually request the transfer to another rep. In the second screenshot there, I only see rep because I have it configured to rep only. If it was configured to say rep or customer, you would see both options there. Okay, so I can choose which account to pull it from, how much do I want to transfer, and who am I sending it to. There is some configuration in addition to dictating who they can send it to, you can also force acceptance or approval. So let's say as a rep, I want to transfer 100 credits over to Dan, but for whatever reason, Dan decides he doesn't want my credits. He can choose not to accept them. Okay. I have never personally run into that, but it's an option. At the very least, it provides a communication or an alert to the receiving rep that they have indeed just received some of those credits. Okay. But those are just a couple of the configuration options about the transfer ability when it comes to credits. As a reminder, you can control this differently on each of your accounts. Okay, maybe you do want them to be able to transfer payment credits, but you don't want them to transfer business credits, or vice versa. Maybe you do want them to transfer business credits, but only to reps. You want them to transfer product credits, but only to customers. So again, starting from the very beginning, when you're setting up those credit accounts, these are all of the downstream rules and strategies that you can use for leveraging these points and encouraging the right behaviors and getting the right results that you want from the program. Okay, so I am at the end of my presentation. I actually went through that a little faster than I thought. I did want to provide some resources. We have some great training articles to help you not only understand how to set these things up, but you can see some really great live examples of them in use. I know that I have already met with the support team this week, and they're going to be updating and adding even more articles about credits based on the content that we've shared here. So if there's anything specific that I mentioned that's not in these, check back next week, check back in a few days. They are literally updating them as we speak. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. I thank everybody for your time. I know I shared a lot of information. I usually don't go into so much detail, but it's just a really robust system. And I want to make sure you really get the full breadth of what's possible with credits. If you have any follow up questions or if you want to start implementing something in your business, as always, reach out to support, reach out to myself, Dan, or John. We'll be happy to help you out. And I will be sending out the recording to everybody along with the actual slides so that you can review further. Thanks, everybody, and I hope to see you again next month.